couple of years before I went to New York, I befriended a guy who was a Slavic teacher in the University of Wisconsin, an American guy. His name was Adam. And he was very fond of Russian underground culture. He spent all the time he could in late 80s in St. Petersburg. He grasped uh, what was going on the underground cultural stage in St. Petersburg, be it rock and roll concerts, underground exhibitions, underground theater performances. The uh, place was very thriving at the time, and generation-wise, he missed great late 60s in States, so he was really trying to recapture the spirit in late 80s in Soviet Union, and there were certain similarities. He visited probably 5 or 6 my underground home concerts at the time, and it was resonated with him. So when I came to States, I rang him, I gave him a call and say, Adam, I'm in States, I'm in New York. And he said, wonderful, I will try to organize your show in our university. So he was able to procure a gig for me with a budget, with equipment, with a concert hall in Madison, Wisconsin. And it was said that I supposed to play in late January 1991. I don't remember exact date. It was either 30th or 31st of January. So it was time for me to go from New York to Madison. And because I was a penniless immigrant, the only way to get there, and it's like 1/3 of continental United States. It was the only viable solution for me was to hop on a Greyhound bus, go from New York to Chicago, then switch buses and go from Chicago to Madison, Wisconsin. And the overall trip took me almost 24 hours. It was 18 hours to go to Chicago, another 4 to go from Chicago to Madison, and waiting for a bus another hour and a half. And since January is a time when days are short and nights are long, sufficient portion of my trip happened to be either in twilight or at night. And we departed around 6 p.m. from New York. And for about 1:30 in the morning, bus was stopped quite often, and speed was like so. After Cleveland, Ohio, he suddenly picked up the speed, and for 4 hours straight went on a 130 kilometers an hour speed on a deserted highway at night. And I was completely thrilled. It was very strange feeling of elation, sense of freedom, sense of fear, and some metaphysical experience that I felt that along American highways, the neurosynaptical connections are going. And I don't know how, but I like plugged into this neural network. And I have these impulses going on through me. It was like hypnotic trance. It was an amazing feeling. So when I played show and came back to New York, that feeling which I experienced on the bus stayed with me, and it was insistently wanted to become a music. So since I got money for my show in Wisconsin, I had financial maneuverability to buy quite good guitar pedal. And when I began to experiment in early February with this newly obtained guitar pedal, I found certain echo which associated, which was corresponding with that feeling I got on the bus. So for 8 weeks I was trying to build a song, try to build a composition, which I'm going to play for you right now. And the name of that composition is Night on the Highway.